Chapter 41, Do you want more? What do you want to do? Seeing Lu Tingxiao suddenly seating himself in the front passenger seat, Ning Xi hugged the steering wheel as if she was protecting her food. Lu Tingxiao leaned against the seat, his expression darkening. What did he want to do? She had best never find out. Currently, he only had a white shirt on his upper body. He suppressed the fire burning inside and roughly unbuttoned his collar, then the next button, and the next button after that. Ning Xi was watching the man next to her cautiously from start to end. Seeing the man slowly unbuttoning his shirt and revealing that solid, fine chest, she became so entranced she even forgot about her little white for a moment. Lu Tingxiao had not noticed her expression at all. He was strongly suppressing his uncontrolled emotions from this night he had actually gotten jealous of a car. He lit up a cigarette and fiercely took a drag, then blew out a long trail of smoke. The moment Lu Tingxiao had taken out the cigarette, Ning Xi was already past the point of resistance. She stared at him unblinkingly, at that smooth throat and the white cigarette held by his thin lips, and at the smoke slowly rising. Due to the burning gaze from beside him, Lu Tingxiao finally turned his head and saw Ning Xi's thirsty expression. With a lapse of concentration, Lu Tingxiao almost misunderstood her gaze, until he realized that her gaze was not focused on him at all. What had made her thirsty was not him, but the cigarette he was holding. The only thing Lu Jingli was good at was gathering information. In the background information he had sent over, all the details from her family background to her hobbies and even the small fact that she was currently trying to quit smoking had been included. Lu Tingxiao immediately understood that she was relapsing. It was fine that he couldn't match up to an old flame. It was also fine that he couldn't match up to a car. However, now he wasn't even on the same level as a cigarette. Pub Future ads. Lu Tingxiao had never felt this defeated and had never felt this much self-doubt in his life. He had wanted to have her all to himself from the moment he had met her, yet he always had to think twice over every single step in consideration of her feelings. However, she had never even considered him as a potential partner, and had always drawn the lines between them clearly. She would rather go find someone else to be her sugar daddy than be his wife. People said that if someone was unable to forget an old flame, it was because the new partner wasn't good enough. Could he be the problem? She got this drunk because of the old flame that had abandoned her? He knew that the best way to court her was to do it step by step, so he had always suppressed his urges and followed this principle. However, he hadn't thought that his rationality was so weak that it would fly out the window the moment there was just a tiny spark. Lu Tingxiao smoked the cigarette as his emotions churned. The red glow of the cigarette's lit end was reflected in his eyes as his low voice rumbled in the car, "You want to smoke?" Ning Xi nodded without hesitation. She could no longer tell if she was being attracted by the cigarette, or this man in front of her. Lu Tingxiao flicked away the ashes, then took in another drag of the cigarette under Ning Xi's fervent gaze. In the next instant, he suddenly leaned over and pressed his tobacco-flavored lips against the girl's lips. Ning Xi's eyes widened. She could only feel the strong scent of tobacco and the cold air of the man enveloping her before her lips were pushed open by something soft, and a mouthful of smoke entered her mouth without any obstruction. Being entirely unprepared, she choked and started coughing non-stop. Lu Tingxiao took another hit of the remaining half of the cigarette with a calm expression and watched the girl cough until she teared up. She looked even more alluring like this, tempting him to bully her even more. He asked, "Do you want more?" Chapter 42, Good night, my girl. Ning Xi glared at the man like he was a big bad bully as she tried to recover from her coughing fit. "Ha!" Lu Tingxiao laughed when he saw that little expression. His humor rippled in the depths of his eyes. He extinguished the cigarette butt and puffed out the smoke in his mouth before once again leaning over, tilting his head and covering her lips. Ning Xi subconsciously tried to escape, but a palm held onto her twisting waist and a low voice coaxed temptingly at the sensitive edge of her ear, "I won't let you choke this time." Having said so, an intense tobacco-flavored kiss engulfed her consciousness. Ning Xi was kissed until she was muddle-headed. Her mind was a mess, floating amidst the clouds. The only thing clear to her was that, this man holding her with one arm, was even more dangerous than smoking. With a bang, the seat behind her fell back, and following that was the man's burning hot body. Her breath was slowly being robbed from her, and Ning Xi slowly felt her consciousness grow even fuzzier and fuzzier until she finally sunk into the depths. Sensing that there was no reaction from below him, Lu Tingxia raised his head slightly and saw that a certain person was currently sleeping thoughtlessly, even snoring a little. Lu Tingxiao's reddened pupils suddenly recovered their normal black color, and the rage in his heart completely disappeared. Ha! He was really crazy. What was he doing getting angry at a drunk person? It had only been 3 days. 3 days since they met. Why was he being so hasty? The attraction he had to this girl was completely irrational. When he had first seen her, he had had a crazy feeling of recovering something he had lost. It felt like she was an old friend even though it was their first meeting. When he had picked her up in the storeroom of that bar, he had actually had the feeling of finding the thing he was missing in his life, like she was a treasure he had lost unknowingly. He wanted to make her completely his right now. However, he didn't want to lose her, so he had to wait. Lu Tingxia retrieved a blanket and pillow from the back, adjusted the temperature of the air conditioning, then laid by her side and kissed her forehead. "Good night, my girl." The next morning, Ning Xi woke up in a warm embrace. Pub Future ads. She raised a hand to rub her eyes, and saw patches of green leaves from the window above her head. Bright and beautiful sunlight was streaming through the gaps in the leaves and shining warmly on her body. There was even melodious chirping from the birds. Where was she? Lowering her eyes to scan her surroundings, she was surprised to find that she was actually sleeping in a car. More accurately, sleeping in Lu Tingxiao's embrace. What? Heck! Ning Xi frantically tried to get up and hit her head on the roof of the car. It hurt so much that she gritted her teeth in pain. Lu Tingxiao, in the car. Damn it, what happened last night? Why was she in a situation like that the moment she woke up? It was hard not to misunderstand with the scene before her. What are you thinking? Ning Xi bit her finger anxiously, her mind was in a mess. She answered subconsciously, I'm thinking whether I had sex in a car with the evil Demon King while drunk last night. This is so scary. Evil Demon King, car sex? If it were like you said, do you think you would have the strength to jump around and let your imagination run wild this morning? From the man's voice, you could tell that he was holding back his rage and gritting his teeth. Ning Xi belatedly found out that Lu Tingxiao had already woken up. She was so frightened that she jumped up and almost hit her head again. Luckily, Lu Tingxiao was already prepared and used his hand to protect the top of her head. Mr. Lu. Call me by my name. Lu Tingxiao's tone was slightly cool. She would call him Mr. Lu when she was trying to distance herself, and call him Master Lu when she was scared of him. He didn't like it at all. Ning Xi wondered if it was her misperception, but it seemed like something about Lu Tingxiao had changed in a single night. Chapter 43, Bite Me Again. Or maybe she should say that it wasn't him that changed, but rather that he had hidden his true self away and she had never really understood him. Ning Xi's gaze inadvertently landed on the traces of blood on the back of his hand. She asked, Lu Tingxiao, what happened to your hand? Lu Tingxiao glanced sideways at that circle of teeth marks, then looked at her with a hint of a smile. What do you think? Ning Xi swallowed once. These teeth marks look a little familiar. There was a trace of praise in Lu Tingxiao's expression. Well spotted. Thanks for the compliment. Ning Xi coughed once and smiled awkwardly before she asked carefully, I did that. Do you think I'm framing you? You can bite me again to compare. Lu Tingxiao suggested, before offering his hand to her. Ning Xi waved her hands, embarrassed. No need, there is absolutely no need for that. I admit that I was the culprit. Although, what happened last night? I don't remember much after drinking, I only recall that I entered the restroom, and I can't remember anything after that. How did I get back here? You collapsed in the female restroom and I went in to carry you out. You refused to go with me and even bit me. Lu Tingxiao's answer was simple and concise. Ning Xi was stupefied. You entered the female restroom. She had really committed a huge sin. The evil demon king had sacrificed way too much. Then why am I sleeping in a car? Ning Xi summoned enough courage to ask. Because you refused to part with your little darling. Lu Tingxiao emphasized the two words little darling with a light tone. Ning Xi glanced at the car she had idolized for so long, and immediately believed what Lu Tingxiao had said. I'm so sorry, I've caused trouble for you. Ning Xi apologized weakly. She felt terribly embarrassed for having caused so much trouble when it was only the second night she was staying over. Lu Tingxiao did not receive her words, but shot out a seemingly unrelated question, why did you drink so much last night? Hearing this, Ning Xi's expression turned solemn. Pub Future ads. Seeing her sudden change in expression, the sleeping beast in Lu Tingxiao's heart started to stir. Ning Xi did not have the habit of sharing her personal worries with others. However, it felt so terrible keeping it in her heart that she just had to share. She leaned bonelessly against her seat and turned her head upwards to look at the greenery above her head as she mumbled, I'm afraid that my role as Meng Chang'e is gone. Astonishment flashed across Lu Tingxiao's face. Why? Since it's only a small role as a supporting female lead, I know that you might not understand my feelings since you're a CEO. You don't know how hard I worked for this day, you don't know how happy I was to get this role. All of you don't know. As she was talking, Ning Xi suddenly raised a hand to cover her eyes. Lu Tingxiao had assumed that she had lost control over Suyan and had never thought that the cause would be something else. She wasn't upset over Suyan. Instead, she was upset because she had lost that role. The gloom he had been feeling the whole night dissipated in an instant. However, seeing how upset the girl was, his heart clenched in sympathy. How could he not know how important her dream was to her? Otherwise, why would she have continued stubbornly climbing upwards step by step despite knowing that there were shortcuts she could have taken? Don't be sad, you've already done very well. Lu Tingxiao shifted the girl's head to rest against his chest. So the culprit wasn't Suyan, but Ning Yehua. Ning Yehua was the biggest sponsor for the movie, Land Under Heaven, and he had the right to decide the cast in the end. No one was allowed to bully his girl, not even her own father. Chapter 44, Flirting Abilities Awakened. After Ning Xi had finally calmed down, she realized that she had been crying in Lu Tingxiao's embrace for half an hour. It was too shocking. Excluding the times when she had to cry for filming, she hadn't really cried her heart out for a whole 5 years. Sorry, I dirtied your clothes. Ning Xi was embarrassed after seeing the mess she had made of Lu Tingxiao's shirt. The corners of his lips lifted slightly, it's an honor for my shirt. Ning Xi was immediately dazed, and her heart beat wildly from the blow. She had always thought that Lu Tingxiao was the kind of genius that had high IQ and low EQ. Who would have thought that when he would be this deadly when he started flirting? She was jealous. He was even better at picking up girls than she was. Lu Tingxiao tidied up her messy strands of hair as if it was natural. What do you intend to do next? Find a much bigger leg to hug. Ning Xi blinked, not understanding. Huh? What do you mean, find a bigger leg to hug? You said you wanted to find a big leg to hug last night, and even said that mine wasn't big enough. Lu Tingxiao looked at her meaningfully. Ning Xi coughed continuously, and was almost choked to death by her own saliva. Damn it, Just how many shenanigans had happened last night? Master Lu, I was too drunk last night, so don't take my words to heart. Your leg is definitely big enough, the biggest leg to hug in the capital is yours. Her face was full of flattery, but she felt like there was another meaning to her words after having said so. Lu Tingxiao was in a good mood after getting flattered. Humor was rippling in his eyes as she said, then why won't you hug mine? I. Ning Xi stammered for a while but couldn't finish her sentence. Lu Tingxiao rubbed her head and decided to let her off the hook. All right, I won't tease you anymore. Let's go back to the house to sleep. You'll need your energy to overcome the challenges ahead. Or would you like to stay a while longer with your little darling? No need for that, let's go back to the house. She was naturally eager to get out of the car. After getting out of the car, Lu Tingxiao stood next to the car door and suddenly stopped moving. Ning Xi scratched her head, what happened? Lu Tingxiao strode over to a bush. She followed curiously, and saw Second Master Lu carrying a camera in his arms, sleeping soundly in the underbrush with limbs askew. She knew that under the banner of Golden Age, there was not only a management company, but also over 300 media outlets. Second Master Lu was considered the boss of all the paparazzi. Pub Future ads. But wasn't this guy too ridiculous? He wouldn't miss out even on his own brother's gossip. The corner of Ning Xi's mouth twitched. Second Master, should we wake him? Won't he catch a cold like this? Lu Tingxiao nodded and kicked him. Lu Jingli woke up with a shout. He started crying the moment he woke, you're too much. Why are the windows of this car so impermeable? I couldn't see inside no matter what I used. Lu Tingxiao looked down on his silly brother in a domineering manner, come to my study later, there's something I want you to do for me. Lu Jingli rubbed his eyes and dusted himself off as he climbed to his feet. His gaze flitted non-stop between the two as he muttered, why didn't the car shake? Don't tell me that I missed the moment? That can't be. With my brother's stamina, the car should shake for a whole night at the very least. Ning Xi, why do you understand your brother's stamina so well? It's easy for people to misunderstand, you know. Lu Jingli scratched his head, that's because when he beats me up, he lasts for the whole night. Ning Xi. Fine, you win. After returning to the room Lu Tingxiao had prepared for her, Ning Xi was totally speechless. In just 1 night and half a day, the guest room had been completely renovated. The room's style had originally been clean with cool tones, but it had been changed into a cozy room with warm tones. Not only that, the closet was filled with a row of clothes all in her size. From pajamas to home clothes to party dresses, even the accessories and handbags were all super ultra limited editions. He was simply, inhumanly rich. Chapter 45, Displaying Gratitude. What's wrong? You're not satisfied? Lu Tingxiao was standing behind her. Ning Xi touched her forehead, it's not a matter of satisfaction. Then what's wrong? CEO Lu. Use my name. Okay, Lu Tingxiao, don't you think you're treating me a little too well? He was treating her so well that she couldn't help but misunderstand. You've finally realized? Lu Tingxiao had the look of finally having taught something to a child. Ning Xi. Seeing her conflicted expression, Lu Tingxiao's eyes darkened for a second before returning to normal. You saved Little Treasure, and Little Treasure still needs your help for a very long period of time. Is there anything wrong with treating you well? He paused for a moment, then looked at her, or do you want me to use other methods to show my gratitude? So she had just been misunderstanding his intentions. A large rock she had been carrying in her heart seemed to have settled down. She quickly waved her hand and said, no, this is fine, it's pretty good. She was not going to mention other ways for him to show his gratitude. Ning Xi could never run in the same circles as someone like Lu Tingxiao. If he knew of her dirty past, he probably wouldn't even let her meet Little Treasure anymore. It's still early, rest for a while. Come down for breakfast later. Okay. After Lu Tingxiao left, Ning Xi laid on the large comfortable bed, wide awake. How would she be able to fall asleep when she was waiting for bad news? Even though the directors were happy with her, it didn't mean that they would be able to withstand the pressure from the sponsors. Finally, she could no longer sit and wait for her death. Ning Xi sat up and opened her laptop to log into MSN. My lonely empty loss, are you there? Corrupted Devil King, wow, Miss Big Star Ning. You're free to contact a peasant like me? My lonely empty loss, do you have money? Can you lend me 8 million? Corrupted Devil King, what happened? My lonely empty loss, please don't ask about the reason. Corrupted Devil King, I just invested my spare money into a winery, it'll take some time. My lonely empty loss, how long? Corrupted Devil King, 3 days. My lonely empty loss, thanks. Corrupted Devil King, heh, my dear. It's the first time you've actually asked me for something. Pub Future ads. My lonely empty loss, when are you coming back to China? I'll go fetch you. Corrupted Devil King, Ning Xi, you're heartless. Seeing that Corrupted Devil King had gone offline, Ning Xi felt stifled in her heart. She didn't want to owe anyone favors if she couldn't help it, especially since this person was one of her exes. Although she knew that she had hurt him by doing this kind of equivalent exchange, she had no other choice. She had lost the ability to care a long time ago, and she never wanted to feel it again. As for the reason why she didn't borrow the money from Lu Tingxiao, she was already too involved with the Lu family. She absolutely did not want to get involved even further with them, especially with money matters. After an hour, Ning Xi finally received a call. It was Chong Li. Ning Xi pressed her palm and took a deep breath before she picked up the call. Hello. Don't forget that filming starts tomorrow morning at 9. Take a car there yourself. I have to take care of Swallow, so I don't have the time to look after you. You don't even need me since you're so capable anyway. Chong Li was still as sharp as usual. The only difference was that her tone was particularly bad today, as if Ning Xi owed her $8 million. What? We're filming. Ning Xi was stunned. Are you still sleeping? Wake up. You're not allowed to be late on the first day. Chong Li's tone was impatient, and she immediately hung up. Ning Xi held onto her phone and remained in a daze for a long while. What happened? She was still in? She scrambled out of bed and paced around the room, and finally dialed the director's number. Hello, Director Guo. Sorry for disturbing you this early, but I had something I wanted to ask you. You're asking about the matter of Director Ning trying to switch you out. Yes. Ning Xi's heart clenched. Ning Yehua had done exactly what he said. Chapter 46, You Are My Angel. Ning Xi, Producer Wang, Screenwriter Ye and I are all extremely satisfied with you. However, the cruel reality is that our feelings aren't enough to film a movie. The most important thing is funding, so we don't have any control over things like casting sometimes. Who gets to have the final say? Of course it's the person who put in the most money. Ning Xi's heart slowly sunk as she listened. She had been switched, hadn't she? Why did Chong Li inform her about the filming then? Last night, Director Ning did talk to me. He disagreed with your casting because he felt that you were too new, however, Guo Qixin paused. Ning 11 hated that she couldn't pull him over through the phone so she could give him a good shake. Couldn't he say everything all at once? However, Ning Xi, you're in luck. Another sponsor seems to have taken a liking to you. They indicated that they wouldn't accept anyone else playing Meng Chang'e. Work hard. Really? Ning Xi's bruised heart was suddenly flying in midair. She felt like she had been taken for a roller coaster ride by the director. It was too much excitement for her heart. Director Guo, you did that on purpose, didn't you? I almost had a heart attack from the fright. Ha ha ha, youngsters these days can't keep their cool, eh? Stop beating around the bush and just tell me already. Have I been replaced? No, no. That sponsor has invested 50 million, that's the combined investment of the Ning family and Starlight Entertainment, so he gets to have the final say. I thought the only sponsors for this movie were the Ning family and Starlight. How did another sponsor appear out of nowhere? Ning Xi felt that it was a little strange. It's a sponsor that came in at the last minute, you'll find out soon enough. Guo Qishan sounded like he was in high spirits. How could he be unhappy at this point? A 50 million yuan sponsorship had come out of nowhere, and his movie now had a total of 1 billion yuan in sponsorship. Furthermore, he no longer needed to bow to the whims of the ignorant sponsors and swap out the actress he was most satisfied with. Got it. Thanks, director. Ning Xi had just hung up when the door opened with a creak. It was the sleepy-looking little bun. She squealed in happiness and threw herself onto the little bun, hugging and kissing him fiercely. Darling! You're my lucky star. You've helped me avoid disaster every time. From outside the door, the great Demon King watched the girl kissing his son excitedly. It was clearly all his hard work. Pub Future ads. Forget it, nothing else was more important than seeing the girl's bright and beautiful smile. Lu Tingxiao strolled in. Did something good happen? Ning Xi hugged the little bun who had been dazed by her sudden enthusiasm. The director just told me that I won't be swapped out because the biggest sponsor for this movie took a liking to me. Oh? Congratulations then! Lu Tingxiao congratulated her in a deliberately serious manner. Ning Xi rubbed her chin as she pondered. The director didn't reveal the identity of the sponsor though. Well, they must be someone with especially good taste and vision. Someone who's really, really handsome. Lu Tingxiao smiled slightly. You think so? Of course. Ning Xi was already acting protective. She suddenly thought of something. I'll be filming in the day for most of the time, and I may have some scenes to film at night as well. What will happen to little treasure? Lu Tingxiao did not answer, but looked to his son. After receiving Ning Xi's warm kisses and hugs, the little bun was in a very good mood. However, upon hearing this bad news, his expression remained blissful. He trotted back to his room. Thinking that he was going to lock himself up again, Ning Xi tensed up. She didn't expect that he would return quickly with a writing board in his hands. The words on the board read, "Fighting." Ning Xi was so touched that she was about to cry. Thank you, darling, you're really my angel. Lu Tingxiao watched the two embracing, his gentle gaze filled with unprecedented warmth. Chapter 47, Red Roses Everywhere. It was the first day of filming today at the studios on the outskirts of the capital. The first scene was a court banquet where the emperor was going to receive some foreign emissaries. The seventh Prince Chu Baikan and his consort Shang Gong Yingrong would use their quick wits to counter the challenges from the emissaries. As the consort day, Ning Xi did not need to do much. She only needed to act as a bewitching and graceful ornament by the emperor's side. However, even so, wearing so many layers of ancient-style clothing on such a hot day was bad enough. Especially since Ning Xi's costumes were the most complicated. Not only were the clothes thick, even the accessories on her head weighed a few kilograms. After filming one scene, while no one could tell from the outside, she was sweating completely on the inside. As soon as the director shouted cut, Ning Xueluo's two assistants immediately rushed over, eager to attend to her. One of them fanned her while the other passed water to her, and the chair was already equipped with a cooling mat. There wasn't a single assistant by Ning Xi's side. After filming, she wasn't able to have even a single sip of water. As she still had scenes to film, she couldn't even remove the clothes on her, and could only unbutton the collar for some air. Everyone was praising Ning Xueluo's performance, and the director added a few compliments as well. However, when he turned back to the screens, he kept rewatching a few screens where Ning Xi had appeared. Although she had no lines and the camera had focused on her only a few times, her expression was simply too perfect. Looking alluring and indolent even while bored stiff, her expression also carried a few traces of contempt for the people beneath her, because she was preparing to destroy this entire kingdom with her own hands. Good, he could finally rest easy. At this time, the errand boy Xiao Li shouted excitedly, "Teacher Ning, your boyfriend is here to visit you." Of course, he meant Ning Suoluo with Teacher Ning. Su Yan walked over in refreshing casual wear. Two servants were following behind him and carrying a large box, and they started distributing ice cream to everyone. "Wow! It's Häagen-Dazs. Thanks for treating us, Mr. Su. Teacher Ning is too fortunate, it's only the first time, and her boyfriend is already here to visit. God! What about us single dogs? Geez, even giving you something to eat won't hold your tongues." Ning Suoluo protested coquettishly, then brought a box of ice cream to Ning Xi. "Junior Ning, you should eat too." "Thanks." Ning Xi received it politely. Pub Future ads. This woman would always act like an angel in front of others, especially in front of Su Yan. Even if Ning Suoluo wasn't tired of it, she had already had enough of watching her act. Luckily Ning Xi was an actress by profession, and didn't mind acting along with her. After returning to her seat, Ning Suoluo looked at Su Yan as if she had something to say, but found it difficult to talk. In the end, she still spoke up hesitantly, "Yan Gaig, I'm a little worried about Xiao Xi." What happened to Xiao Xi? Su Yan immediately asked. "It was the opening party last night, right? My dad came, and he met Xiao Xi. I'm not sure what Xiao Xi said to Dad, but he flew into a terrible rage and wanted to kick her out from her role." "How did this happen?" Su Yan frowned. "I don't know either, by the time I got there, Dad was already furious." "What happened afterwards?" "It looks like Xiao Xi hasn't been switched out." Su Yan looked towards Ning Xi's direction, only to see that she was reading the script earnestly despite sweating profusely under the sun. Although she cut a sorry figure, her face was dazzlingly brilliant under the sunlight. Speaking in a hesitant manner, Ning Suoluo continued, "My dad called the production team last night, and they agreed to the switch over the phone. However, the next morning, someone anonymously invested 50 million into this movie, and their only request was that Ning Xi had to be the supporting female lead. I'm afraid." Su Yan's expression turned uglier and uglier as he listened. Finally, he said in a low voice, "I know Xiao Xi. She would never do something like that." "Yan Gaig, you're too naive. What kind of place is the entertainment circle? Were there any people who didn't change upon entering this circle? For me, I'm lucky because I have Daddy and you to support me, but Ning Xi has such a bad relationship with our family and she refused to accept our help. Don't tell me that you don't know what can happen to a beautiful girl with no power and backing. Ning Xi, there's someone looking for you." At this moment, the errand boy shouted again, but with a weird tone. Within an instant, everyone turned their gazes over. Because it was too eye-catching. Red roses. Enough red roses to cover the entire set were slowly being brought in by people. Chapter 48. By the time everyone could react, the whole set had been turned into an ocean of red. On such a hot summer day, it made everyone feel even hotter. While Ning Xi held onto a card, feeling like she was about to faint. A row of words was written on the card, "Remember to come pick me up at the airport, corrupted Devil King. Miss Ning, please sign off on the delivery. I'll sign off on your sister. Please take it all back, it'll affect everyone's work piled up here." Ning Xi tried her best to keep a gentle tone as she rejected the gift. "We can't do that, we promised our customer that we can only go once we've watched you sign on the receipt." The flower boy was troubled. At this moment, one of the prop directors hurriedly tried to persuade her, "Ning Xi, just accept them, just accept them. Coincidentally, we have a scene that needs roses later on, so we won't need to spend so much effort to prepare them if you give them to us. Since the prop director had already said so, Ning Xi could not bear to trouble the delivery boy any longer. She pinched the space between her eyebrows, then messily signed her own name. By this point, everyone watching from the side started whispering amongst themselves with envy on their faces. My gosh! There are so many roses! It's so romantic! Who sent them? Do you even need to ask? It definitely has to be a suitor. Beautiful women are really treated differently. To think that someone sent flowers on the first day of filming. And they sent so many. The assistant by Ning Xueluo's side, Kui Kaijing, said carelessly, although there are so many of them, it doesn't actually cost much. Just as she said so, someone suddenly came over looking for Ning Xi. It wasn't so eye-catching this time as the new arrival carefully passed her a small box. All the busybodies stretched their heads over trying to peek. What was it this time? Ning Xi's face was full of suspicion as she opened it, only to see a huge, sparkling diamond with a note. The note said, "Long time no see," and was signed off as YS. Staring at those two letters, Ning Xi's expression turned even uglier. Were they collaborating together on this? She was trying to keep a low profile, why was it so hard? In such a short time, she had first gotten fresh flowers and then diamonds. The whole production team was in an uproar. Oh my god! That diamond is freaking huge! My eyes are about to go blind. Ning Xi's suitors are so crazy. This time, Kui Kaijing had nothing to say, she could only whisper sourly, who knows if it's real or not. While Ning Xi collapsed in a chair, looking like she couldn't live on. Pub future ads. Whatever was supposed to happen, would come eventually. She couldn't even hide. Ning Xi took a few deep breaths and tried her best to recover her calm, before walking to the director. My apologies, Director Guo. I've caused trouble for the crew. Guo Kishan didn't seem to mind at all, he chuckled as he waved away her apology. It's natural to have a few suitors when you're such a beautiful lady. There's nothing to apologize for. We've even gotten your flowers for free. Not far away, Ning Xueluo looked calm on the outside, but she was gritting her teeth in irritation. How could she not be jealous? That village girl who had still reeked of dirt back then, could actually drive men mad to the point of sending such extravagant gifts and effortlessly get the things she had to work so hard to get. Taking advantage of the little time she had before the next scene started, Ning Xi quickly found a corner and dialed a number. Hello? Have you received my present, darling? A leisurely tone sounded from the phone. Zhang Wei. Your grandfather? Are you for real? In contrast, Ning Xi was on fire. Tisk, tisk. You're the very first one who's ever refused to me after receiving my roses, and you even want to my grandfather. Aren't your tastes too weird? Stop changing the topic. What do you want? Nothing, I just wanted to remind you to come pick me up at the airport. You've promised me. You still dare to let me pick you up? Aren't you afraid that I'll bring a 40mm knife and chop you to death with it, you bastard? Ning Xi strongly suppressed her killing intent. So you're going back on your word? The person's tone turned cold. The condition for going to pick you up was that you would lend me 8 million, but now I don't need it. Didn't I send you a text explaining that? I don't care anyway, you've already promised me. Although I didn't lend you the money in the end, but I agreed the moment you asked, even though it was such a huge sum. How could that be fake? Don't you hate owing people the most? Doesn't this still count as a favor? Ning Xi held her forehead and paced aggressively. I'm not going to mention sending flowers to prank me for now. But you know that the news of your return has already been leaked. The media and your fans will be flooding the airport. You want me to pick you up? You want me to be torn up by them? Zhang Wei, I only dumped you once. It's not worth giving me such a hard time. Am I giving you a hard time? This is a free opportunity for you to become famous, something so many stars want but can't even get. I don't need it. Fine. You're not coming, are you? Then I'll tell the whole world that you dumped me. Anyway, I don't care if I'm humiliated, I want to let everyone carry out justice for me. The other person said shamelessly. You, Ning Xi's lungs were about to burst from anger. The stupidest thing she had ever done in her whole life was provoking a troublemaker like Zhang Muye. Did you think I wouldn't be able to deal with your cheap tricks? The corner of Ning Xi's mouth raised slightly as she chuckled. Sure, you want me to fetch you? I'll go. Just don't regret it when the time comes. Actually, it was easy enough to settle the matter with Zhang Muye. He was just unhappy about being dumped for the first time, so he wanted to take a little petty revenge. He would stop once he had enough. The thing that made her head hurt was the devil that had sent the diamond. Forget it, forget it. She wasn't going to bother with it until she had to. Ning Xi, there's someone looking. She heard the errand boy Xiao Li's press sunrising voice the moment she came out of the corner, and she was so frightened she wanted to drop everything and run. Who was it this time? Will this ever end? Everyone in the crew was suddenly full of energy. Was there going to be something even more explosive this time? In the corner, Kui Kaijing's expression was full of disdain. These crude men only know how to throw out money. They're so low class. Miss Xi, hello. This time, it was a shy girl. Seeing that Ning Xi's expression wasn't too good, she even thought that she had done something wrong, and looked apprehensive. Facing a girl like that, Ning Xi couldn't vent her rage no matter how angry she was. No, it's nothing. Are you looking for me? I'm here to send you something. The girl opened up something white that looked like a thermos. Cool white mist floated out, revealing 3 bottles that looked like they contained fruit juice, red, yellow and green. This is... The corner of Ning Xi's mouth twitched. She had seen too many palace dramas, so her first reaction was that someone was trying to poison her. Pub Future ads. This was personally made by my little young master. There's watermelon juice, orange juice, and green bean soup. The girl replied. Who's your little young master? Ning Xi was suspicious, and tried to recall if there were any little young masters who liked making fruit juice amongst the people she had offended. The girl indicated that she should read the note on the bottles. Ning Xi tore it off for a look, only to see an English word written on the note, fighting, with a heart shape drawn on the end. She could almost imagine the sender's shy expression, with pursed lips as he drew the heart. So it's little treasure. Ning Xi's gaze turned gentle in an instant, and her turbulent emotions finally calmed down. At first, she had been worried about being too high profile at the start of her career and drawing unwanted trouble and gossip. Now that she thought about it, why should she care so much about the gazes of the people who didn't care about her? If she had to keep caring about what other people thought of her in this industry, wouldn't she die from exhaustion? Back then, she had cared too much about what the upper-class socialites had thought about her, even as their gazes looked down on her. She had cared too much about her supposed biological parents' attitude towards her, and had regarded Su Yan's opinion too highly. It had caused her to feel even more inferior as time passed, and she had slowly lost her identity. She had already understood this philosophy long ago, yet she had let a small incident shake her heart so much. She only had to be herself, keep a clear conscience, and one day, she would be able to prove herself with her own strength. She was fighting only for the people who cared about her. Put it down over here, and help me to thank your little young master. Ning Xi took out her phone to send Little Treasure a message as she said so. The cast and crew looked like they were minding their own business, but they were all staring over at Ning Xi's corner, curious about what had been sent over this time. In the end, they seemed to have seen 3 bottles of fruit juice. Ning Xi had seemed troubled by the roses, and she hadn't even seemed pleasantly surprised when receiving the diamond. However, this time, Ning Xi had an expression of bliss, and was even happily sending a text message. Each of them had their own lamentations. Yeah, these days, money alone isn't enough to get the beauty, you have to use your heart. Right? Didn't you hear that girl say that it was handmade? How sweet! I bet the one that sent the fruit juice will win the girl. Then I'll bet the one who sent the diamond. Why isn't anyone rooting for the one who sent the flowers? After finishing the fruit juices and green bean soup, Ning Xi was fired up and ready to continue working. At the same time, Lu Tingxiao, who was taking a break from work and accompanying his son at home, got a notification on his phone with a ding. The notification indicated that there was a new message from Ning Xi. Lu Tingxiao tapped on it, and the corners of his lips rose slightly. Darling, thanks for your fruit juice and green bean soup, it was super delicious. Sarang Hei Io. He looked at the message for a long while before waving his hand at his son, who was sitting unmoving at the window in a daze. Little treasure, come over. Little treasure ignored him. Lu Tingxiao sighed lightly, there's a message from your auntie Xiao Xi. Little treasure scuttled over like a rocket, and even tried to grab the phone by jumping. Lu Tingxiao raised the phone even higher, I'll let you see it if you call me daddy. Little treasure's expression was full of protest, indicating his refusal to cooperate. It was only when his son was anxious to the point of crying that Lu Tingxiao finally softened and passed the phone to him. While watching his son read the message, looking perfectly content, Lu Tingxiao had an expression of worry on his face. Pub future ads. It was most likely because there were so few things that could trouble him, that God had sent Little Treasure to his side to test him. Little Treasure was extremely intelligent. He could speak at 6 months, and although he had a taciturn personality, since that incident, he had never spoken again. He had missed out too much during Little Treasure's early years, and it was only when he wanted to make up for it that he found that it was much too late. He didn't know when he would be able to hear his son call him daddy again. Little Treasure stared at the phone for a long while. It seemed like there was something he couldn't understand. Finally, he moved closer to his daddy and pointed at Sarang Hei Io with his tiny little finger, most likely asking the meaning of those words. It's just a manner of speech, there's no special meaning to it. Lu Tingxiao answered seriously. Ptapa, don't teach Little Treasure when you're not familiar with pop culture. Sarang Hei Io means I love you in Korean, okay? Lu Jingli was bouncing as he ran over, he even made a heart shape with his fingers. Little Treasure sent a scornful look to his dad after hearing so, then ran off with little steps to continue pressing fruit juice. Lu Tingxiao was fluent in 12 languages. Even if Ning Xi had written those words in Korean, he would definitely have recognized them. However, when the words were written as they were pronounced in Chinese, he could not understand it. Don't you have to work? Lu Tingxiao looked coldly at Lu Jingli in askance, with the expression of a boss managing his subordinates. Lu Jingli immediately moved a chair over to sit in front of him excitedly. Boss, I have something very important to report to you. Lu Tingxiao was lazy to speak, he had an expression of speak if you want to. Lu Jingli gestured wildly with his hands as he spoke, extremely excited, do you know what news I received today? Xiao Xi's ardent admirers sent her presents while she was on set. That was the fruit juice and green bean soup that Little Treasure sent to her. Lu Tingxiao was indifferent. I know, but before our Little Treasure sent his gift, there were other people who sent her gifts too. Furthermore, there were 2 of them. One of them sent her enough roses to cover the set, while the other sent a huge 10-carat diamond. Lu Tingxiao's expression slowly turned cold. On this hot summer day, it helped to relieve the heat a little.